Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will start chapter number 11. It's about homeostasis. It's my first lecture on this chapter. Let's start. First of all, we will see the definition of homeostasis. It is defined as the maintenance of internal conditions of body at equilibrium despite the changes in the external environment. Internal conditions of the body means the actual or the suitable level of everything which is needed for a plant body or an animal's body for better growth. For example, the proper level of water, salts and other metabolic products. And why an organism need homeostasis? Let's see. First is to maintain the amount of water and salts in the body fluid, and this maintenance of water and salt in the body is called as osmoregulation. The second need for homeostasis is to maintain body temperature, and it is called as thermoregulation. And third, to maintain metabolic products, for example glucose, urea, uric acid in the body, and this process is called as excretion. So all these three processes, osmoregulation, thermoregulation and excretion, they are related to homeostasis, or they result homeostasis. Let's see homeostasis in plants. Plants respond to environmental changes and maintain homeostasis. They show different mechanisms to keep water content and other chemical compounds constant in their internal environment. First of all, we will see the removal of extra carbon dioxide and oxygen. During daytime, carbon dioxide produced during cellular respiration is used by plant in photosynthesis. And at night, carbon dioxide is released from tissues by diffusion. In leaves and young stems, it is escaped through stomata, but in young roots through general root surface. And what happens with oxygen, extra oxygen? Oxygen is removed through stomata of leaves during daytime. Why during daytime? Because photosynthesis is taking place during daytime, and extra amount of oxygen is removed through stomata. Then comes removal of extra water. Water is absorbed from the soil and it is also produced in cellular respiration. Plant needs plenty of water in its cells for turgidity. What is turgidity? It is actually the state in which vacuole of the cell, plant cell, it becomes fully filled with water, and this water would exert pressure upon the wall, cell wall, and it is called as turgor pressure. And due to this turgor pressure, the actual shape and size of the plant cell is maintained, and the condition so developed is called as turgidity. When a plant becomes turgid and all the tissues or the cells become turgid, it would maintain its shape and size. So turgidity is very important for our plant body, and it is gained by proper amount of water inside it. And extra water is removed through transpiration. And what is transpiration? It is the loss of water from the plant surface in the form of vapors, and it happens during daytime. Why? Because stomata are open during daytime due to photosynthesis. And what happens at night? Transpiration does not occur. Why? Because stomata are closed. And what happens then? Guttation takes place. Guttation occurs in some plants in which plants accumulate extra water in xylem vessels and force it to special pores present at leaf tips or edges and form drops. So these drops are then removed, and it occurs in grasses. So transpiration and guttation are the two processes through which plant body releases extra amount of water. But what happens in transpiration? This extra water is removed in the form of vapors, and in guttation this extra water is removed in the form of drops, right? and guttation sometimes becomes similar to dew drops. Dew drops are the drops of the they are formed due to the condensation of water vapors in the air, and it happens during night, and they appear on the leaves as dewdrops. But guttation is not it should not be confused with dewdrops, because guttation is the drops of water. Due to guttation, drops of water appear on the edges of the leaf or tips of the leaf, and this water comes from inside the plant body. Now, the removal of metabolic waste by plants. In plants, metabolic wastes are stored as harmless insoluble materials in different forms. For example, calcium oxalate is deposited as crystals in leaves and stems of many plants. For example, tomatoes. And in trees, waste products are removed during leaf fall. So calcium oxalate is a crystalline metabolic waste. It gets stored in the leaves, and in higher plants, when leaves fall during autumn, these waste products are released from the body. Then comes resins. They are produced by conifers. Conifers are gymnosperms, cone producing plants. And then gums. Gums are the waste products of acacia. Acacia is the scientific name of kikar. And these gums are also the sticky substances which are produced or they appear upon the stem or trunk of kikar. Then comes latex. It is a waste product which appears to be milky liquid, or it appears from the stem of rubber plant when a cut is made upon it. Mucilage is produced by ladyfinger and carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants are the plants which depend upon insects for their better growth. Let's see the osmotic adjustments in plants now. Plants are divided into three groups on the basis of amount of water and salts. We have three groups. First is hydrophytes, second xerophytes, and third is halophytes. Let's see hydrophytes. These plants live completely or partially in water. They have broad leaves with stomata on the upper surface of leaf. And these stomata are meant for the removal of extra water. Although they are living in water, they have plenty of water in it, but still extra water accumulate inside the body, and it should be released from the body. That's why they have stomata on the upper surface of the leaf. And the example is water lily. Then the second group is xerophytes. Xerophytes live in dry environment. For example, deserts. They have thick waxy cuticle over their epidermis. Why? To prevent water loss. They have less number of stomata. They have deep roots to absorb water from the soil. They have special parenchyma cells in stems and roots to store water. And this special parenchyma makes their stems and roots wet and juicy. So these organs are called as succulent organs. Examples: cacti, cactus or cacti. Okay. Third group is halophytes. They live in seawater. Salts enter the plant body or body cells. Plants carry out active transport to move and hold large amount of salts in vacuoles. Salts are not allowed to move out through semi-permeable membrane. The sap of vacuole remains even more hypertonic than seawater. In this way, water does not remove or it move out from the body. Example is many water grasses. So halophytes, they live in salt water or sea water, and you know that sea water is very salty. First of all, the salt, they get accumulated in the vacuole, and after that the plant would not release this extra salt from the body. Why? In order to maintain water content inside the body, and water would remain inside the body, and in this way water content would be maintained, and this way they can easily grow, or they can easily exist in salt water or sea water. And many water grasses are the example of halophytes. Let's see the home task. First of all, you will define and explain homeostasis. And second question is, how is extra water removed from the plant body? Third, name metabolic waste in plants and how are they removed? Next is describe distinguishing features of plants classified on the basis of amount of water and salts. Do all these questions in copies and send me the image. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.